This is Jonathan Stark, and you are listening to Without Your Head.
All right, and welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I am Nasty Neil.
This is Annabelle Lecter.
That would make me Terrible Troy.
Yes. And joining us here from Fright, I think he was about to introduce himself, which he is welcome to do so. He could probably do it a lot better than me.
Yeah, hey everybody, this is Stephen Geoffreys, and let's party.
Exactly.
I'm liking it.
Yeah. Would you let everybody know you're going to be at Shadow over Seattle for Mad Monster Party coming up October 3rd through the 5th, madmonster.com, and really looking forward to seeing you.
I can't wait. It's I love Evan. He's such a great guy, and I'd do anything for him. And it looks like he's gotten together a really, really special setup up near Seattle, and can't wait. And of course, it's always wonderful to see Amanda and Chris and Billy and Jonathan. And be great if Tom could come up there, but but it's great. I mean, we're like a family. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Since you started doing the conventions and doing the reunions, before that, did you guys talk at all? Since the movie?
It's weird when a movie wraps. People think that since they saw you for 2 hours that you're still together, but I mean, people, have lives and they go their own way. And I think the first convention that we did a reunion, I think pretty much none of us really, did, if we were together, it was for a project or something, but yeah, like I said, people, they have families and kids and stuff like that. And, and I've been hanging out here on the West Coast in the Bay Area for, a few years. And, it's not a bad place. I live right in the city, and, it's great.
This, Evil Ed, iconic character. Was the character itself, and I'm not mean a vampire, but was there any similarities between Ed and yourself?
Yeah, I think in most part similar was like the vulnerability and the personality, kind of a not sure of who you are, and like that scene in the alley, when I'm cornered by Jerry and I got to kind of make a decision. It wasn't, it was like, do I want my old life, which wasn't all that great, or do I want something different? With just a bite of the neck, and so that's what I chose. And
yeah. Do you think?
But other than that, not really. I mean, I'm not goofy like he is. Right. I think like that laugh I just hated doing, but it ended up, I guess, being kind of a signature part of the part. But
yeah. No, you talked about the vulnerability of Ed and that character, and he's kind of not necessarily bullied, but kind of do you think that's what makes people relate to that character, even people who didn't grow up seeing the movie who get to watch it later?
Yeah, and being vulnerable, I mean, you're not really bullied unless you let someone do it. I mean, you really allow yourself to be affected by it, and he didn't, Ed Thompson didn't have very thick skin to be able to stand up to it, so, he let it just simmer inside, and and that's, I think pretty much everybody does that to some extent, and there are a bunch of jerks out there in the world that do stuff to people that they see, are easy targets, and and I sort of experienced that a little bit, but I decided I wanted to be an actor pretty young, so I was so focused on that, and on wanting to be an actor, that I really I didn't let anything get to me, because I was so involved with teaching myself what to do to be a decent actor, and and I worked really hard at it. I went to college for it, and did a lot of work getting my foot in the door. So I was kind of lucky. A lot of kids, I think, don't have a solid grasp on what they want to do, and but I felt I was lucky to to have known pretty much what what it was I wanted to focus my life on. So.
Mm-hmm.
What was it exactly that pulled you into the idea of this career? What were your earliest experiences before you officially got into acting?
Yeah, it's really totally an ego thing, and I just love the process of creating a character that is, sometimes the same, but most of the time different than who you are, and and I guess hiding behind a character is a great experience, because it gives you license to do stuff that you never ever would do in real life that you might otherwise want to. So so that's definitely the funnest part of it. You transport yourself to different times and different parts of the universe, and so it's really that kind of core creative aspect of it is just it's wonderful. So
along
what
those
kind of characters do you tend to lean towards? I mean, it sounds like you love all different kinds of characters, and just diversity is important to you. What tend to be the characters you're most drawn to?
The ones where I'm offered the part. I mean, I mean, it's true. I mean, I don't go out saying I don't know if any actor really does that. I was incredibly surprised to have been offered the part of Evil Ed in Fright Night. I was filming in Palm Springs, and they sent me the script, and I read it, and my agent didn't tell me what part it was, and I was okay, I'm going to play Brewster, Charlie Brewster, and she said, no, Steve, they want you for Evil Ed, and I'm like, you got to be kidding, because when I was reading it, I did not. I mean, you are open-minded when you read a script, but when you first realize, okay, this actor would be really good at playing this, really kind of obnoxious sort of insecure guy, and but for some reason they thought I'd be the right one to do it, and but yeah, it really did take a lot of stretching of my imagination, and just physically doing stuff that that I really don't like, behavior that I don't do at all in real life, and people that I see that recognize me or at conventions, they want me to do that laugh all the time or something. Yeah. And it just really
I gotta say though, that makes it even more remarkable to me, because it's one of the most believable, outcast characters that I've ever seen, and I personally assumed that would be, you drawing from real life.
Well,
you did an
can't-
awesome job, I gotta say.
Yes, thanks. You can't not draw from life because that's all you have, but I mean the number one thing is to be faithful to what the screenwriter wants to get across, and that's what I did, and in this case it was, I think all of us were given such great things to work with from Tom Holland. He wrote such a really awesome, solid script, and that always makes life easier. You know what I mean? When what's written on the page is of such quality.
What was the reason for you not being in the sequel?
Okay, that's probably the third most asked question, which is, I mean, it's so, it's not like, I mean, I was actually obligated legally to do it, but I was offered 976 Evil, which both films were starting production like the same week.
Oh.
And I obviously couldn't do both, so the obvious choice was working with Robert Englund and doing 976 Evil, and which was great because I think if I would have done Friday Night 2, when I watched it, I felt so bad for Billy and Roddy because it was such crap,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really just was. And of course I was comparing it to the original and say, wait, that's Billy. I mean, Charlie Bruce was not supposed to be in this movie. He was in, the other one. And it was kind of like whatever.
Yeah. That's how I felt when I saw it.
It was the kind of thing like, we don't really like a lot of these remakes. It's because it's kind of cheap. You're just taking advantage of a name that already exists. And it sounds like you kind of feel the same way. Like, this is just not supposed to happen.
Yeah, and it's part of the thing that people in Hollywood really look at the audience with a really low common denominator. Oh yeah, they'll buy this. People know about the first one, and so they'll pay $12 to see the other. And what's funny is that never happens at all. I mean, that you never get a guarantee hit, even if it's with the biggest stars and the $100 million advertising, and it's always word of mouth because of the quality of it, which is why people are talking about it, because it's good, and people find out because there are so few really good movies that when one does pop up, it's like, wow, you got to see this. It's it's really different and fun, and I mean, there's sequels I think that have been just as good or better, but because they stand on their own, not because they're taking advantage of the title, so.
Mm-hmm.
So what, in your opinion, are some remakes that you think, it doesn't have to be even horror-related, but remakes or part 2 or part 3 or any of those kinds of films that you actually respect and enjoy?
Well, obviously the Batman series, the first one, I loved. I mean, a lot of people didn't, and it's a lot different than that. I love the first one. I think it really was my favorite. And, when Christian Bale came along, it just became a totally, totally different thing. And those have been remarkable, really entertaining. And I don't think I'm alone in thinking that some of the ones in between were just, I'm not sure what they were, but it's like, what were they thinking? But, and I think most of the Spider-Man sequels and the series of that have all been pretty really sustaining the quality of the first one. I think the one last summer or the last one was kind of a little bit repetitive. So I think they might have run out of ideas for that one, but I think 90% of the time they suck, sequels.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that what are some of your roles that you would like people to seek out that or maybe are underrated in your opinion?
Definitely Heaven Help Us. That was by far my favorite character in movie. I mean, part of the reason was that it was my first, and that's always special. And but it just, my favorite place in the world is New York City, and I was living there then, and we filmed it, all over New York and Manhattan and Brooklyn and stuff like that. So I was just friggin' in heaven, I mean, it was, and then it came out, and it was such a, and I'm not. It was really disappointing that more people didn't see it because, the
it's
movie.
Got a great cast in it. Love the cast in that.
An unbelievably accomplished cast with a lot of New York actors. I was doing a show on Broadway, and so were about 4 or 5 others. Kate Reed was doing Death of a Salesman. Wally Shawn, I think, was doing a play, and so it was just, and Philip Bosco, just tons of really, really gifted stage actors, and and we all worked during the day and did our shows at night, and it was the best. I mean, I got like maybe 4 hours of sleep if I was lucky a night, but it didn't matter. Who needs sleep when you're doing what you love? So.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you have a real fondness for your experiences in theater. What makes a difference for you between a theater experience live in front of an audience and making a film?
They're two different animals. I mean, it's the only thing that, is common about the two are, you act the same, you draw from the same creative place in your mind and body that you do in film and stage. It's no different, but the surroundings are a zillion % different, and the preparation is in a play. You get a script, and then you get 6 weeks to rehearse and really just let the characters sink in, and it's a process that doesn't happen in film. I think, most of the films that I got, I was ready for shooting this, when I walked in the audition. So it's very, very different. And the technical aspects of film are, not necessarily fun to deal with, with having to look in the exact right place. And when you're on stage, you're out there by yourself, with the other cast, and, you're in control for 2 hours, and very different. But I love both, to be honest. Yeah.
So I want to mention that making his first ever convention appearance is going to be Art Evans, also from Fright Night at Mad Monster Shadow over Seattle.
Art Evans is going to be there?
Yeah, it's first time he's ever at any convention.
Fucking awesome. That is great. That is so wonderful. I can't wait to see him.
Yeah.
What an awesome guy. Wow. God, we're going to have so much fun. Jeez.
Yeah. And you just swore on the show, and we told you beforehand that it was mandatory, so...
Wait, say it again?
You just swore on the show, and we told you beforehand that it was mandatory to swear at least once, so...
Oh, I'm glad I
So
could be
Steve, you're
accommodated.
free to go.
He's so
You've made it.
proud.
Also,
So, yeah,
mhm.
that's great. Wow,
Yeah,
can't
it's
wait.
cool stuff. So that's October 3rd through 5th in Seattle. I've never been to Seattle. I've never been to Washington, so I'm looking forward to being there. I hope everyone can come out.
It's a great city. It really is. I think after New York, it's well, I like Baltimore too,
Yeah,
and Boston. But
Boston is
so
a
yeah,
city.
it's good. And yeah, we'll have a blast. Can't wait to see everybody.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming on.
You bet.
Hope
Yeah,
we'll
it's
have
been
you
a
back
pleasure.
sometime.
It's great to see you.
What's that?
I said it's been a pleasure. It'll be great
All right.
to see you.
Yeah. We're gonna have a blast. All right, you guys. I'll see y'all very soon. Take it easy.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you much.
Take care.
This is PJ Souls, and you are totally listening to Without Your Head, Horror Radio.